So back in January, I ran 100 kilometers in just under 14 hours. But in doing so, I actually made running feel like a chore and took away all of the joy that I ever found in running. But now, 9 months on, I'm loving running again. And I'm actually in better shape, not running so much. In this video, I am going to reveal the 5 things that I have done to help refine that joy. So if you're ever struggling with running, hopefully you can use them too. So let's get into the first point. And as I just mentioned, back in January, I ran 100 kilometers, which was a great achievement. At the time, a few months on, I regretted it, but now I'm quite proud of it. But it did mean that I seriously hurt my hip and I couldn't run for about 2 months. But it actually meant that I put on a fair bit of weight because I just carried on eating like I was running 100 kilometers every day. And it meant that in March, I looked like this. Not overly bad, but not in the shape that I wanted to be in, considering I wanted to run every week and hit new goals and get new PBs. So I started running again very slowly, building it up with gym work to help my hip because that was really bad. And in that, we went on a holiday to Budapest for a week and I couldn't really walk anywhere, so that was fun. I was doing 75 hard at the time, so my running was part of something, but I wasn't necessarily running for a goal. I was just running to get out of the house and stay active once I could finally run again. And by the end of March, I'd managed to build up to running 5k again, although much slower than I'd done it before, and it was much harder than I used to find them. And I stayed at 5 to 7k for a while. I wasn't running to try and beat a time every time I went out or training for anything specific. I was just running, and that's what made it enjoyable again at the start for me. It was like when I first fell in love with running a few years ago. I wasn't necessarily working towards a PB or a time. I was just going out and running for the joy of it and doing different routes and seeing different places. It was more of a focus on general fitness to keep healthy, and doing this took the pressure off running for me. I also had the added benefit of, because I'd put on a bit of weight again, I was able to start seeing newbie gains. So although I'm not a newbie, once I started running consistently again each week, I started seeing those small improvements, which was a positive feedback. It took me back to why I started running, which was in a world where we've just got loads of technology. It was just to get out of the house and stay generally fit, because I have some awful eating habits. Yeah. Now, yes, I am running for times. I've just done a half marathon where I went for a PB. I've got another race in about a month where I'm going for a PB. But it means that the pressure's not always there. There are some runs that are just runs. And I'm doing them because I want to go for those PBs. I'm not doing it because I feel I have to. So that first point is just run. Just run for the fun of it. You don't always need to have a goal in mind. You can just go out and just have a jog. And another way that made it even more fun for me was doing it with people. So right now I want to ask you a question. Do you find running by yourself hard? Some of you might have said yes, some of you might have said no. And for most of you, which is what it was for me, was sometimes yes, sometimes no. But a lot of the time, especially when I did these challenges, I was running quite far on my own. People would join me on bikes, but I was on my own for a lot of the time as well, especially in training for these. On those training runs, I was pretty much constantly alone with no one to talk to. And one of the things I loved about my Run the Date challenge last year was that it had a sense of community around it. I was posting a reel every day about the run, people were commenting. We were also raising money for cancer research, which also had an added benefit of working towards a goal with everybody. It was raising cause for something that meant a lot to a lot of different people, and it had a sense of community around it. And after this challenge, I thought it was the reward from running the crazy distance that I craved. So I did the 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, and I ran the 100k. But both of those challenges had something missing that the Run the Date had, and that was bringing people along the journey with you. And that was having that community and everyone pulling together, and people messaging me every day to see how it was going. The other 2 challenges I felt quite alone for. I'd turned running into this lonely chore that I did because I thought I had to do it to get any recognition for being a good runner. But back in July, I changed that and I joined a run club. Now I get to meet up with people once a week and have a catch up with them. And it all feels like we're moving towards the same goal. Even though we're all at different paces and we've all got different goals, we're all working towards that goal of getting better and also just enjoying running. There are also a few people of similar levels to me, which means I'm able to push myself a bit more. Before this, my 5k time had been at 21:30 for 3 years. I've been running with people and pushing myself a bit more. I've got that down to sub 19 minutes after only running again since April. It's the social and community aspect of running that I love, and having this run club has given me a different type of run to look forward to each week. It has made it so much more enjoyable than just going out on your own and David Goggins in it. So if you find those long runs hard or those interval sessions difficult, see if you can join a run club, or if you've got any friends to take out with you. Depending on the interval session, you know, if it's a really difficult one, maybe spare a thought for your friend before asking them to go out and do that with you. Now, point number 3 is something that I tell a lot of my friends to do when they start running, yet it was something that I never did for some reason. And to give you an example of this, back in August, I did a 5k park run where I was on pace for a sub 20 minute 5k. And in the 4th kilometre, I hit an absolute wall of hell. I didn't know what was going on. It was awful, okay? I was doubting everything, even my capabilities to do my day job. Why on earth was I thinking about my day job on a Saturday morning? So, as you can see, first 2 kilometres are 3:56. Third one, 4 or 5, bit slower, but we've banked some time. 4th kilometre, although there is a bit of elevation, but you know, let's give me some credit. 4:16. What on earth happened there? I just started dying. I just started fading away. I couldn't deal with it. I managed to pull it back in the 5th kilometre and went to 3:46, which was my fastest kilometre. A decrease in elevation probably helped with that as well, but let's skip past that and let's just say I did really well. So I didn't quite hit sub 20, but it was still a good run out. And after, I was quite proud of myself. I was quite happy that I'd managed to overcome that barrier of the 4th kilometre and give it a go in the 5th. I didn't hit what I wanted to do at the start, but I managed to overcome that obstacle and give it a good go. Me, a year ago, would have seen that run as a total failure because I didn't hit the goal that I set out to hit. Mentally, that final K was a big win for me. You should celebrate the small wins. I found myself really happy for going out for it when I was already shattered. I was already contemplating never running again. Slightly dramatic, but when you've hit a wall in a 5k, you do doubt everything. I was pushing myself when I felt tired and I didn't think my body could do it. And I felt better for it. I loved it. It's one of my proudest runs because the gap between the 4th and the 5th is massive and I managed to pull it back. Celebrating the small wins is a great way to find running fun again. I started taking gym more seriously and tracking my lifts and really being proud of myself when I went up a weight or managed to do more reps and just felt myself getting stronger. I started to celebrate eating healthy and not having a day where I ate 18 waffles. It wasn't every day. I gave myself more credit than I used to, and it just created this positive feedback loop where I just wanted to go back and do more. Celebrating those small wins is a great way to make running fun and a great way to make you feel like you're making progress. And on reflection, the thing that was holding me back from celebrating those small wins is actually point number 4. Because I had done such big challenges all within the space of 12 months, I had a big ego. Now, I didn't go around flaunting it to people, telling them I was a better runner than them or that they couldn't do what I did. There's having an ego, and then there's just being an arrogant little insert swear word there. But sometimes I would think I was better than other runners for absolutely no reason. No reason whatsoever. There was no need for it. And it was comparing myself to people who didn't even know I was there. They didn't even know I existed. This ego made every run a competition. Yes, park runs can be a bit competitive if you're going for a PB or you're in a bit of a race with someone. but it doesn't need to make or break your day or your weekend. But I felt I had to do these massive challenges to keep up with everybody running and keep up a reputation of who I thought I was. But in reality, it just made me not a great person when it came to doing the sport that I loved. And it made the runs less enjoyable. They were fueled by hate and rivalry and wanting to beat others rather than trying to better myself and having fun. Now, I just want to run to better myself, whether that's mental health or just physical health, or having the social aspect like I've spoken about, or bettering my times. Not every run's a competition, and running slower as well helps me run faster. Running slower doesn't mean you're bad at running. I want to help support others achieve their PBs or just get out and go for a run and just move. The benefits of just moving and exercising are brilliant. It doesn't matter if I'm faster than them or have run further than them. It's just an empty ego comparison. Running is different for everyone, and I found that removing my ego and stopping comparing to others who didn't even know I was comparing to them, and taking away that arrogant sense of I was better than people, just made it more light and more fun. I wanted to run more. Let go of your ego. You don't need it when you're running. Yeah, if you're competing, you might have an ego. You know, if you're going for the Olympics, you want to beat people. But you don't need to compare and compete with everybody, in my opinion. So that begs the question that if trying to be better than people and competing against people used to drive me, then what does now? Well, I mentioned earlier that I did a sub 19 minute 5k after only running for about 3-4 months again. Now, there is the factor last year that I did a lot of long, slower runs, that probably did help build a base, and that's come into fruition in those 4 months when I've started again. But I didn't do any 5k specific training. I did about 4 runs a week, showed up to park run on a Saturday and just sent it, and that was fun. It was a playful goal. I wasn't hurt if I didn't get my PB on a Saturday. I just found running fast fun, and I just went for it every Saturday. It started out as get a PB, and then I got 20 minutes and 4 seconds. So then it was like get sub 20. Then I got sub 20, and then it was like see if you can get low 19s, and we just kept going for it like that. And then we went see if you can get sub 19, and I did that. I was just playing with time and playing with paces, and just going there with no expectations of whether I was going to hit it or not, and just having fun. Because although you are exhausted after running a fast 5k, the endorphins you get from it are immense, especially compared to a really slow 100k run where it just feels like every one of your organs wants to die. I was playing around with paces and just going for it with no hard or fast rules in place. It doesn't always have to be about running for a goal. It can just be showing up and doing whatever pace you feel like that day and doing what you fancy. The point of this is, it wasn't the be all or end all if I hit that goal or not. If I didn't hit it, I'd go, well, we'll try again next week, or I'll try again in a few weeks time. Well, once my body'd recovered, if I felt all right. Doing it every run, you're probably going to injure yourself. So just, you know, watch that. Take the pressure off hitting that arbitrary goal. You've just picked a number out of thin air. It doesn't mean anything. Just go and have fun. And the more fun you have with running, and you give yourself a little tester every now and then, and overcoming that challenge, you find that fun, and you get endorphins, and you make progress, and you feel all good and warm and fuzzy inside, you will naturally get better. Play around with your paces and see what you can do. You don't need to run big distances and take on crazy challenges to be a good runner like social media might have you believe. And if you want to see some of the regrets that I had about running that 100k, then you can click here to find out a bit more. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.